own epiphany, and that is we had to find our own bricks and stones. Doesn't have to be something glamorous. It can be just whatever turns you on. For me, it was comic books and movies. Whatever it is for you, I can't do anything more than urge you to follow your dreams and follow your passions in what you do, just like my dad did. And probably the best way I can sum up the way I've led my life, the fact that, yes, the Batman Dark and Serious franchise may have been built on my bloody knuckles because I met door after door being slammed in my face, and every time a door slammed in my face, like it probably has slammed in your face at one time or another, I realized I only had two choices. I could either go home and cry about it, or I could pick myself up, dust myself off, and go back and knock again, and knock again, and knock again until my knuckles bled. And I can stand before you today as Michael the fanboy and as Michael the producer and tell you that the same words that I used to guide me, which came from Robert Frost. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I chose the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you everybody very much. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's do some Q&A. I see they have a microphone right up here, if anyone wants to come up. And by the way, no, I'm not going to answer questions about the next Batman movie.
So there is a next one.
So how about them Yankees?
Sweet tonight.
You're not kidding. I'm going to the game tonight. I'm very excited. Robbie Cano, go ahead.
Real quick, do you think that right now we have a whole bunch of superhero movies all based on existing properties? Is there room for completely original superhero films, things that people have made up? I myself have a feature spec that is entirely a new character, but I wonder if it's going to be even worth trying to sell.
Absolutely. You know, you're lucky enough to be in an age now where the digital world, the internet world has opened up. There are websites out there where you can begin to establish your reputation. And don't be fooled. The comic book companies, as well as the studios, troll all of those comic book websites. They really do. And you have a chance to prove your talent, to prove you've got a property that's of value. And we're living in a world where our entertainment is being splintered. And it's coming to us through many, many different delivery systems, and therefore on many, many different budget levels. And there is so much room now, more than ever, for creative expression, for new ideas, for new characters. You damn well continue doing what you're doing, and it will come to somebody's attention. Don't give up. Just be good at it and enjoy it, and you'll be surprised at what could happen.
Thanks.
Hey.
Hi. I wanted to ask, whose idea was it to divorce Batman from the supernatural for the Christopher Nolan? Because, you know, it meant so many of my favorite characters. I loved the movies, but it meant Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze were out of the picture, so, you know, it was a big choice.
We are so blessed when a filmmaker arrives on the scene who not only shows but proves that he gets it. Not only that he gets it, but he respects the integrity of the character and he respects the creators. We are all so lucky with Batman. If you look over the last 70 years of Batman, there are so many vast different interpretations of that character, you can't believe it. From Pow Zap Wham, which is for many people the only true Batman, I admit it.
Sadly.
To the cold, calculating, dark, almost vampiric Batman of the 90s. To Bill Finger's Batman and Robin jumping on giant typewriters and battling this gruesome array of villains. And of course, let's not forget the Superman Batman of Planet X. So there are so many ways to interpret it, and I think for Chris to interpret it the way he saw it strongest to him, imbuing it with his own creative take as well. Obviously, it is reaching so many audiences around the world, crossing demographics, gender, and even cultures. And that's an amazing thing to see. It's interesting how each different filmmaker brings different sensibilities and different vision to it. So I think I just stand back, I am in awe, and I honor that so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I want to be really careful about how I phrase this, but I'll preface it by saying that I go to a women's college, so I think that you, just from hearing you speak today, kind of personify the sort of reason why women are still kind of in the backseat of industry, because of the sort of risks that you took with your life. I just think occur to men more easily than they do to women, and I just wanted to know about, in the time that you've been spent in the movie industry, how have you seen women sort of come up through the industry, and what do you think about the ideas that we are just naturally not so accustomed to taking the sort of large life risks that you are?
Well, first I thank you for the daring for the question. First of all, you're talking to an ex-hippie freak who, back in the late 60s and early 70s was in the streets on a daily basis, out there protesting and demonstrating for civil rights, against the war in Vietnam, for women's rights, for this new thing called Ecology and Earth Day we were trying to get started. So when it comes to those are issues that have direct concern to me, that I've been interested in for a very, very long time. I'm also the father of a daughter, and that regard alone makes those issues extremely important to me. I have seen in the industry women rise to the top as executives all over, whether you're talking the comic book industry, or the movie industry, or the animation industry, or the TV industry. I have seen women who have become some of the best producers, amazing directors, all kinds of new opportunities open to every woman who's creatively daring and are willing to push the envelope, the same as men. And personally, I think that these industries are the kind of industries most open to women. To me, the biggest bias I see is ageism. I see it very, very hard for whether it's women or men over a certain age to get a job in front of the camera or behind the camera. I even know some writer friends who worked on such projects as MASH who have had to take it off their resumes because it makes them appear too old to the young executives today. That's a whole other issue that we could talk at length about. But I think the opportunities for women, the perception of women, and the reality of women in this industry, or these industries, is terrific and expanding.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
Going back to the Oscars a couple years ago, I think the elephant in the room was The Dark Knight being missing, from Best Picture nominations. And I was just wondering if you took it as a message from Hollywood that they're still a little resistant to fully embrace comic book movies as legitimate, because I feel everyone sort of felt that it was robbed.
Let me answer that a little bit generally.
Okay.
I have been to the Motion Picture Academy many times for screenings and for events, and every time I go, I'm often the youngest person in the room. I think that parts of it have become a club that has excluded too many young people, young filmmakers, young execs, and I think there are many people in there, just like the dean I had a pitch to, and the Columbia studio exec that told me Batman was the same thing as Annie, who just have a perception of comics that date back to Frederick Wortham and comics as cheap and lurid entertainment for children, and will never and have never had the respect for comic book characters or comic book creators. It's all changing. The generations are changing, and I think that's now going to change, and I think the whole situation with Dark Knight is forcing it to change. So I hope it does that rapidly. Yes.
Hi. First, that was a really inspiring narrative of your life as a student that's in film and writing. And I wanted to ask in regards to it's obvious you put forth this really strong effort towards what you wanted to do, and I don't mean to discredit the effort you put forth by asking the question, because it might seem to, but I was wondering if you think it might be, whether or not it's whether it's easier or harder now, to really, because it seems like there's this new gathering force of the youth today in media of staking your claim and doing what you want, just throwing yourself out there and really grabbing your own little niche in media or in comics or whatever. And I'm wondering if the way this is developing, if you think it's easier now or harder now than it was 20, 30 years ago to kind of take that role in whatever field you're in.
I don't think it can be determined easier or harder. I think it comes down to the individual and what makes you tick. I have been lecturing all over the country at